So I see this all the time. You feel like you're drowning in a sea of options. You're out there trying to pick your best trip, and there's just so many options. It just feels like a full-time job, and you're unsure how to get the right itinerary for you. I mean, let's face it, cruise lines go to over 2,000 ports worldwide. That doesn't mean every one of them is going to be right for you. You end up scrolling for hours, getting lost in a blur of Caribbean beaches, Alaskan glaciers, and you're no closer to making a decision. You're terrified of making the wrong choice and flushing your precious vacation time and money down the drain on a trip that just isn't right for you. Picking the right cruise isn't just about picking the right ship. It's about where that ship is going. Your itinerary is really the heart of your cruise experience, and today I'm going to break down how to choose the perfect itinerary for you. We're going to go through my 6 key things you need to consider first, and then I'm going to dive into some of the most popular cruise itineraries you'll see when you're booking. Stick around. First up, you need to know what kind of vacation you really want. Do you want to relax? Do you want to explore? You want a bit of both? You know, some cruises are very sea day heavy, like a Transatlantic cruise. There might be stretches of time where there's no ports, or maybe it's like a Mediterranean cruise or a Northern Europe cruise. Those are going to be very port intensive. You're going to wake up at a new destination almost every day. So balance what you love. Do you want to sit by the pool every day? Do you want to get off the ship and enjoy new historical places? Or do you want to see some really cool scenery like glaciers or bears or just the fjords of Norway? It really comes down to what do you want to experience. Secondly, be sure to consider the seasonality and the climate of your trip. If you're planning a vacation only in the winter, then your options are going to be limited to those warm weather cruising. Timing is everything, so certain destinations are only going to be available certain times of the year. Alaska and Norway, those are best in the summer months. The Caribbean, that's a year-round option. Third consideration should be the port variety and the types of excursions you want to experience. This is where you're going to have to do some homework. Some itineraries, especially those in the Mediterranean, are going to be all about those iconic cities like Rome, Athens, and Barcelona. Others are going to be more about beaches, like heading to St. Martin or Cancun, and these excursions are going to be different. Do you want to climb ruins? Do you want to sip wine in a vineyard, or just sip something fruity with your toes in the sand? Different itineraries are going to bring you different vibes. If you're dying to see the whales, then book a trip to Alaska. If you're craving a day at a private beach with pools and water slides, then maybe focus on an itinerary that includes the cruise's private islands. All right, number 4, take into consideration where your cruise departs from. This is also known as the embarkation port. This is where your cruise is going to start. This is where everything kicks off. Sometimes flying halfway around the world to get to your embarkation port might add some extra stress and costs, maybe more than you realize. Caribbean cruises that leave out of Florida, they might be an easy, simple flight. Mediterranean or Australian itineraries, especially if you're flying from the US or Canada, that might be a long-haul, expensive flight. Those dollars can add up. You can add extra time to your vacation, and like me, when I went to Norway, might end up with a couple days of jet lag. Number 5, thinking about the length of time you have to spend on your cruise. You know, cruises, of course, range anywhere from a couple of days for a weekend getaway or a multi-week epic voyage. If you're new to cruising and you just kind of want that fast escape, maybe a 3 to 5 day would be perfect for you to test the waters. And these will most often be the Caribbean or Bahamas, usually sailing out of Florida or California for the Mexican Riviera. Now, of course, the most popular cruise length is going to be a 7-day trip. In fact, industry numbers show that this is the king, making up the bulk of the bookings for a reason. It's the sweet spot for most people. It gives you enough time to settle in and really explore the region you're going to. If it's the Caribbean, Alaska, the Mexican Riviera, longer cruises for the most part are going to be more expensive than the 4 to 5 night cruises, but that's not always true. Especially around the holidays, those 4 and 5 day cruises might be just as much, sometimes more, than those 7-day cruises. On to number 6, make sure your ship matches the itinerary. If you're going somewhere scenic like Alaska or Norway, you're going to want a big observation lounge or plenty of outdoor deck space. On the flip side, if you're going to the Caribbean where it's all about the sunshine, you may want a ship that's going to have great outdoor deck space and really good pool facilities. If you're going on a ship that's crossing the Atlantic where there aren't a lot of ports, make sure there's enough for you to do on board so you're kept occupied, because there's nowhere else to go. Now, if you're dying to go on the fanciest, newest ship and you really are wanting to experience a fun, brand new ship, the itinerary may not matter. Where it's going is where you're going. But if you're flexible, you can go on your dream vacation and let the ship be what it is. And if you want some more advice on how to pick the best ship, head on over to my other videos where I break down steps to picking the right ship for you and your trip. All right, just to recap a little bit, those are the first things you need to think about. Know what you want to get out of your vacation, consider the climate and the seasonality, how many ports you want to visit and the types of excursions you want to experience, where the cruise embarks or leaves from, the cruise length that you want, and how well the ship matches your itinerary. Once you've worked through those 6 items, now you can start to consider the itineraries and where the ship is actually going to go. So now I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk a bit more about those most popular cruise itineraries that you're going to see as you start to book your cruise. All right, let's start off with the most popular region in the world, the Caribbean. You're going to see 3 main flavors here: Eastern, Western, and Southern. Eastern Caribbean itineraries usually hit spots like the St. Thomas area, St. Martin, Nassau, Bahamas, and San Juan. These are classic beach and shopping stops with beautiful scenery. Western Caribbean is a bit more adventurous. You're thinking of things like Cozumel in Mexico, Grand Cayman, Belize, Jamaica. Here you're going to find snorkeling, Mayan ruins, more excursions that get you off the beach. In these ports, I've done things like off-roading in a Jeep, tubing through a cave, or boating through mangroves. Southern Caribbean is going to be a bit more exotic. Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao, these are also known as the ABCs. These cruises tend to be a little bit longer, maybe 8 or 9 days, because it takes a little longer to get down there. It's going to feel a bit more remote. You're going to see beaches and snorkeling and zip lines. Honestly, with the Caribbean, you really can't go wrong. It's going to be turquoise water, lots of sunshine, lots of great things to drink. Just always remember your sunscreen. Let's move on to the Mediterranean. Now, this is perfect for history, culture, and those iconic cities. Think about walking through Rome, Athens, or Barcelona, or enjoying the sunsets at Santorini. These are going to be very port-heavy itineraries. You're going to be up early, off the ship, exploring all day, back late. Maybe that sounds amazing to you. It kind of sounds amazing to me, but if you're dreaming about a lazy vacation, you might be surprised how little downtime you're going to get. The huge upside here is you're hitting multiple countries, you're seeing incredible sights, and you only have to unpack once because your hotel's coming with you. Next up is the repositioning cruises. This is like when a cruise goes from one region to another, like from California to Vancouver. You can buy a one-way ticket on this journey. You're going to get some fantastic deals. The ships aren't usually packed to the max. There'll be fewer kids, if that's something you prefer. The catch is, though, you're probably going to see a lot of sea days. If you love the ship itself, you get to see shows, dinings, activities. This could be paradise for you. Now, these kinds of cruises only happen a few times a year, so watch for them and grab one if it sounds like fun. Transatlantic cruises are unique that they may either be repositioning cruises or true Atlantic crossing cruises, kind of the ultimate sea day heavy trip. You're literally crossing the ocean, 6 to 8 straight days without a port. There's usually a few ports on either end of the trip, but for the most part, I would consider this a on the ship the entire time type of trip. For some, again, this is amazing. You get time to read, relax, take advantage of the spa. You can go to every restaurant on board. It's like a retreat at sea. For others, it's too many sea days. So ask yourself if you'd really like that downtime and if that sounds like a great relaxed pace for you. If yes, you'll often find great prices and a more relaxed crowd. If you're short on time, these 3 or 4 night getaways are a perfect sampler. Most go from Florida to Nassau with a stop in between at maybe Royal Caribbean's Perfect Day at Coco Cay, these types of private islands that you get to spend the day with just your fellow cruisers. These are great if you really just want a quick break and you're new to cruising or just want to test it out. Keep in mind though, the weekend sailings especially, these could be more of a party atmosphere with a younger crowd. Not a bad thing, just something to know. You'll have more kids, more groups, and more people out having a good time. By all means, be one of those people and join in the fun. It is your vacation after all. Overall, that vibe can definitely depend on the cruise line, so go check out my other video of picking the best cruise line for you. I'll link it in the description below. Alright, that's it. Hopefully it's no longer an overwhelming sea of choices, and hopefully you're getting more to a clear, logical path to booking your first perfect vacation with confidence. So now you've got the blueprint to stop the endless scrolling and start planning your next amazing adventure. At the end of the day, the right itinerary is the one that fits you best. Whether that's where you're hopping around Europe, island hopping around the Caribbean, or just floating across the Atlantic with a good book, there's an itinerary that's going to feel perfect for you. Now that you have the framework to find your ideal itinerary, you're probably wondering which cruise line is the best fit. Don't worry, I've got you covered there as well. I broke down all the major cruise lines in another video that I've linked here as well. So click on it and I'll see you over there. And before you do, please drop a comment below. Let me know what's your dream cruise vacation. I love to hear about it. And if this helped you figure out which cruise might be your style, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Let's enjoy this adventure together.